morning, and welcome to our daily broadcast. Today, we bring you an exciting story on the life of one of the masterminds behind numerous massacres, the ex-leader and founder of Al Qaeda, Osama bin Laden. Now, please do not think that we do this to celebrate this man's life or deeds in any way. We intend to tackle this matter in the most unbiased way possible. Our inspiration for today's segment is George Santayana's phrase: "Those who do not know history's mistakes are doomed to repeat them." Without further ado, please enjoy Osama bin Laden, the man behind the terrorists. With us today is Professor Peter Wright from the History Department at Columbia University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Wright. Welcome, Mr. Wright. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, I understand that you are considered an expert in the field of modern Middle Eastern issues. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, today we are producing an account of the life of Osama bin Laden. So, let's start from the absolute beginning. How was Mr. bin Laden's early life?
Well, Osama bin Laden was born in 1957 in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. And he was one of the 12 children of a very wealthy man in Saudi Arabia who worked in the construction industry. They had royal ties with the royal family, because they would build the palaces and the huge residences that the royal family lived in. So this job yielded a lot of money, and his father was able to send Osama and all of his sons and brothers to college. And this is a key moment in Osama bin Laden's life, because at college he has his first opportunity to get involved in a Muslim radical movement, a Muslim war, which was called the Afghan Resistance.
What exactly is the Afghan resistance?
The Afghan Resistance happened in the mid-1980s. Afghan troops led by the Soviet forces fought against the emerging radical groups of which bin Laden was a member.
So what happened next? How did he start developing his violent anti-American ideology?
Well, it's very interesting. This was his first leap into war, his first step into his development of an ideology. Because, as I brought with me today, this is a quote from a 1998 interview from Osama bin Laden with Al Jazeera Arab television. And he says, I quote, "Every Muslim, the minute he can start differentiating, carries hate towards Americans, Jews, and Christians. This is part of our ideology. Ever since I can recall, I felt at war with Americans and had feelings of animosity and hate towards them."
Wow, this excerpt explicitly states his ideology towards America.
It's right there.
So, going back to Afghanistan resistance, I believe we have some footage of it right here. Let's watch it. Those were some shocking images of the resistance.
I agree.
So far, we've got that the Afghan resistance kindled bin Laden's anti-American thoughts, but was there something else to it that...
Definitely, glad you asked. Later in 1990, the Kuwait invasion took place, but I first want to note that 2 years earlier, in 1988, Osama bin Laden founded the base, or in Arabic, Al Qaeda, as we all know it, and that's the group of Muslims, of radical Muslims, just like him, who joined in opposition of the United States. And the reason that I bring this up is because he's clearly gaining prominence among these radicals, and I think that's worth mentioning.
So, let me get you back on track. What was the Kuwait invasion?
Oh, sorry. The Kuwait invasion was Saddam Hussein as the head of the Iraqi government taking over Kuwait. The governments, the politics, they just brought in their troops and took over the country.
So, how did this consolidate bin Laden's hate towards the Westerners?
Well, his hate was consolidated because Kuwait had no other option, but to call for American help to drive Saddam Hussein and his troops off the country, off Kuwait.
So, was it the fact that Kuwait called for American help that infuriated bin Laden? Or?
Well, yes and no. It's the fact they called for American help over local Arab help. So, Osama bin Laden would like that Kuwait asked for Saudi Arabian help in a way, but they did.
Oh, I see.
But honestly, I find it amazing that if it wasn't for that moment in college in which Osama bin Laden decided to join the radical movement, he would not be here where he is at this point.
Well, I find it quite amazing too how this how a man can be shaped
Yeah,
towards the.
absolutely. Like life is all about these little things that shape us and give us this path to follow.
So let's take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned to see what follows. Welcome back. This is Osama bin Laden, the man behind the terrorist. So, Mr. Wright, a big issue with this topic is that of religious involvement. Can you talk about how religion plays a part in this matter?
Well, I think that religion takes a part in this matter in two main ways. The first one being in deeds or actions, and the second one being in words. For the words part, I think that the fatwa, which was published in 1996 by Al Qaeda, and is also known as Declaration of War on the Americans who inhabit the land of the two mosques, is a direct threat on the Americans who are desecrating Muslim holy land by settling in Israel and other holy lands for the Muslim religion. And in the deeds part, I think that the most relevant action might be when Osama bin Laden joined the Mujahideen, which is the radical group in college, when he joined it back in college.
So, in what point in time do we see the Mujahideen take a part in these religious matters?
Well, this Mujahideen group is the radical group that I was just talking about earlier in the Afghan resistance. This is the group of self-identifying religious warriors who the Soviets tried to fight in the Afghan resistance.
So, Mr. Wright, you've told us a lot about what his ideology was and how it came to be, but this all just sounds like an awful lot of talking. Can you tell us a little bit about bin Laden's deeds that back up this talk?
Well, he sure has done a lot to back up his talk, as you put it. But I believe that unconcerned people solely attribute the attacks of 9/11 to bin Laden when there are many other chaotic incidents that were orchestrated by him. The attacks of 9/11 are just one of the many attacks against the United States on the grounds of intrusion or religious sacrilege, for example.
What examples are you talking about?
Oh, I'm speaking about, for example, the 1995 Riyadh bombing to his own city he was born in, or the truck bomb explosions at the American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. I mean, in Tanzania and Kenya, more than 200 people died, and back in the Riyadh bombing, 6 more were dead.
This is all horrible. But although I appreciate your attempts to show other examples, a talk on Osama bin Laden's cannot go through without mentioning the attacks of 9/11. What's your opinion on the situation?
Well, I think that the attacks on 9/11 are the best examples of this flawless coordination of attacks. He organized his men to hijack 4 planes to strike the foundations of a country, economic power, the legislative power, and also the military centers.
Well, we all know this was a national tragedy for the United States.
It was.
Well, Mr. Wright, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And thank you all for your attention. And remember, those who do not know history's mistakes are doomed to repeat them.
Go.